I wouldn't take that risk. For it, to be lost, or just if you are attacked. Yes? You don't want to make friends with another kid? Oh, you miss Grogu! You were thinking of him right there. Don't play with my heart. Ah! If you're coming right there, maybe we're gonna have finally a connection with the actual show that I'm supposed to watch. Hello! Missed you!
You can't say no, you're a droid. What is this, a democracy on its or fine? Right. Okay, it's not here. Maybe it ran.
Thank you.
What an entrance! Hey, look, everyone, it's Mando!
You said you found me a replacement for the Razor Crest.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I said. That's what I do. Hey, droids, make yourself.
Let's see what you found to replace the Razor Crest.
Right this way. So, where's your unlikely companion?
I returned him to his own kind.
Why the hell would you do that?
It's not.
Where's the Razor Crest?
I never said I had a Razor Crest.
No.
I said I had a replacement for it.
But it's not finished.
This is an N1 starfighter, handmade for the Royal Guard and commissioned personally by the Queen of the Moon.
Yep, but it's not. Yes!
I know she doesn't look like much, but you got here a lot earlier than I expected, and I didn't get a chance to finish. I mean,
Tell me, how many days, months do you need to finish?
Come on! You gotta see the potential! Woo. I'm telling you, Mando, you gotta believe me.
I can't see what I'm doing. Just stop moving. Just focus right here. The Jawas and the Germanic Manchuria simulator from a Galactic Republic era starfighter.
Well, they have it. They got it.
Can I meet them?
Yeah, sure. The Jawas are still out back. Dated a Jawa for a while. They're quite firm, not issues.
Yeah.
They are.
If I give them a list of parts, could they get them for me?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm looking for mostly bolt-on aftermarket speed mods. This is all hand-built custom. I'm guessing we need vintage hardware that's gonna fit this antique.
Dated a Jawa? I know what I'm doing. Oh, that's okay. I'm working on the 11 now. Sorry.
And like in all Disney movies and shows, we have the accelerated moment for training, for creating something.
You know, I've never even been off-world.
Do you want?
I'm a local gal. Let me see that doohickey.
You give me a Razor Crest, you can have it right back.
Oh, bantha did all. These are a lot harder to come by than some plain old Razor Crest.
Don't talk bad about the Razor Crest. I loved that ship. She's really a good character, and all of that scene, about creating that ship and all, it's nice, fun, and necessary also in a way for Mando with creating his own ship. Build a relationship also with this ship like he had with the Razor Crest. But maybe it's too much right there, it's really a long moment. Looking good! Can it fly?
Not a gram of fat honor. No one's catching you in this thing.
create a bond between Mando and his ship.
Yeah, I figured with your disposition, you want to forego
Again,
the aspect.
how are you gonna name it?
Think she's ready?
Ready she'll ever be.
Do you have the place for Govu into that ship? That's the only thing that matters.
It's not turning over.
Give it a little bit more juice.
That's a lot of engine for a little ship.
Well, see what she can do.
Shouldn't we run a diagnostic first?
Ah! It can fly, it can fly! Okay.
Engaging forward drives.
Oh, it's making a lot of noise, you know? Clearly, you trafficated the original thing.
Handles a little
You know,
bumpy.
like the motorcycles, like that. Oof. Good one, a good one.
Hey, Barrett, she's fast. It's a gum stone jack. She drags like a rail speeder.
Don't talk bad about the Razor Crest. Ah! Hello!
Was I doing something wrong, officer?
You're not allowed to fly that fast next to a commercial ship.
You're also operating without a beacon. I'm gonna need to run one for us. Your engine model doesn't match your power drive.
We just built her.
I was taking her out for a test flight. Haven't been able to update the registration just yet.
Oh, hold on a second there, Lieutenant. I think we can let him off with a warning this time. Thank you, officer.
Your voice is not familiar. Did you used to fly a Razor Crest?
Yep.
I think you have the wrong guy, officer.
An incident involving Imperial remnants.
I'm just getting actors and dogs here.
You mind answering a few questions?
Ah!
You didn't jump yet. Those were his sublight thrusters.
There's no trace on our sensors. We're reporting this?
You want to go back to base?
No, sir.
They're nice! Already, you know, into the Mandalorian, we had plenty of moments. And that's a nice ship. We're gonna keep her.
Oh, by the way, little friend of yours dropped by, said she was looking for you.
She?
Don't worry. I told her I didn't know where you were. Then I locked her out.
That's gonna be
and
Fennec.
security system.
You know, we need at some point to...
Fennec Shan.
Mm.
By any chance, are you looking for work?
Hmm?
Well, it could be.
It is good. No bounty. We need muscle.
Boba Fett.
Yep.
We sure would appreciate it.
Tell him it's on the house. First,
Ready?
I gotta pay a visit to a little friend.
That's gonna be the end. Oh, I didn't know. That this episode was gonna be about the Mandalorian. The return of the Mandalorian. That we were gonna spend the entire episode with the Mandalorian. Like, really, this episode, it's the show The Mandalorian. It's not just an episode of the Book of Boba Fett talking about the Mandalorian, it's also the show The Mandalorian. For sure, the story and the character, because we had only him during all of the episode, but also how it was done, how it was filmed, how it was written. That was The Mandalorian. That was not the Book of Boba Fett. That was so cool. I didn't know. For sure, I didn't know. You know that I'm not watching trailers, promotional pictures, I'm not making any researches. Like, even the titles of the episodes, I'm not searching for them because I don't want to have spoilers, and clearly it would have been such a big spoiler right there. I wouldn't have been surprised, you know, at the beginning of this episode and to have the entire episode about him. That was so cool. Oh, I miss the Mandalorian. I miss Grogu. The end of the season 2 was so great. with the Jedi, with that moment, you know, the goodbyes and all. That was so great. So it's good, you know, to have news about him, what he's doing, the fact that he came back to be a bounty hunter, but you know, he was hurt during that job. After that, when he came back to his friends, they helped him, but one also tried to win, you know, against him to have the dark saber, so that person was against him. The other one banished him, you know, because she forced him to confess that at some point he gave up on his thing. Really hope that he's not banished. And you know, no. You know, I don't want that to happen for so many reasons. Because it's the name of the show, The Mandalorian, so I don't want that to change, for sure. But also, mostly, because of the story, all of that story behind the Darksaber, with Bo-Katan, with Mando, and what he can do now that he has the Darksaber, all of this story about these people, you know, this planet, all of what we can do with that. It's so interesting and insane, in fact, all of what we can do with that I don't want that to change. I don't want him to have some issues with that, like they're not gonna recognize him as a real Mandalorian, they're gonna say that he's not a real one. But we know also that we have so many different kinds also of things. Like right there, he was really into the strict church of the Mandalorian. But all of that, and also mostly because of his character and how much he believed into all of that. He has a faith, you know, in a way, into all of that, into respecting these rules. I don't want him to lose that, because it could be interesting for the show and for the character, but it would break also so many things about him. Before finding himself, he's gonna be lost for a long time, you know, if really he's banished for good from this church, you know, this group. I'm afraid of the consequences of that for him. We'll see. The fact that he's still thinking about Grogu. Oh! To make something with him, because he wants to keep an eye on him, he wants to see him again, to check if he is okay, but maybe also because at some point he hopes that Grogu is gonna be back with him as a Mandalore and as a Jedi, a mix of that. He wants Grogu to be loyal, like the Mandalorians are. We'll see. But yes, the fact that he's thinking about him, like watching a kid, he's thinking about his kid. It's so nice. I miss the Mandalorian, the show. I miss these two characters and their relationship. And I miss also the big story behind these two characters and their relationship. Again, we have such an interesting and big story behind the Mandalorian, Mando, what he can become, what he can represent, all of that story about his planet and all. And same for Grogu, we have such a story that we can have behind the fact that he's a Jedi, he's gonna be a Jedi, but he's a weird one, you know, how it began for him, the fact that he spent all of this time with the Mandalorian and he learned also stuff from him. And about their relationship, the fact that Grogu is supposed to forget about Mandalorian, to not be attached like that to him, like so many good things, big things can come from their stories, their characters. I miss this show. But yes, right there, it was really an episode for The Mandalorian. Again, not just the character, but really for the show, The Mandalorian. I'm wondering, you know, this is the first season of the Book of Boba Fett, and already in a season of 6 episodes, you are taking one entire episode, you are making a crossover, but which is not in fact a crossover because it's an entire episode dedicated to another show. Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, the one about Obi-Wan Kenobi, all of the shows that they are preparing for the franchise Star Wars I think that a lot of them are gonna be connected and they're gonna make a lot of crossover, you know, to please the fans. Directly into the season 1, and with an entire episode. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett, it's already a spin-off coming from the Mandalorian, so it's great to make a crossover. Why not during the season 1? But again, an entire episode about it, I'm not sure. And just before the final episode, really not sure of the decision, and in a season of only 6 episodes. And maybe that impression that I have, it's simplified by the fact that I really had the impression that they spent a lot of time finding their DNA, finding their mood, and all that. For me to do that, an episode like that about another show just after that, it's even weirder. But it was such a great episode, like, it's almost these 2 last episodes, they are the real deal. They are what I expect when I'm watching a show into this universe, to find something which is really well done, well written, which has an intention behind the camera, which has a continuity between the different scenes, which is interesting for the story, for the big story, for the characters, for their developments, for future relationships. We had that right there with the Mandalorian and all of his story with Grogu and all, but we had that also during the last episode, because we were talking about the relationship between Fennec and Boba Fett, about the big story behind Boba Fett, all of these revenge things and all. You know, all of the situation with the Pikes, that situation of fighting for powers and all. So I think in fact that this show, for now, pleased me with these 2 last episodes, because it was about the real story, the real stuff, the real deal, when really the first episode was a synopsis, the second episode was a flashback, the third episode was a little adventure. They were not into the real deal with the 3 first episodes, they were not attacking the real stuff, so that's why they had trouble to find their DNA. Now that they're gonna attack the real things, they're gonna find it. If I can give an advice to these writers, to this show, it's to not go on creating a little story for 1 episode and to just really tell the big story. You know, the Mandalorian, they did that a lot during the first and the second season. For each episode, we had the big story, but also a little story that we began and ended into 1 episode. In each episode, we were discovering a place, we were discovering 1 or 2 characters. At the end of the same episode, we were saying goodbye to these characters. So they were good to create a little adventure and to continue the big story in each episode. I think that the Book of Boba Fett, they can't do that, or at least they are not good at doing that. They have to focus on that, in fact, to write the big story that they want to tell. But for now, when they tried to create little story, it didn't work. It was not connecting well with the real deal, and we couldn't get the intentions behind that. We were losing ourselves with that. 2 episodes that are just focused on the main story, and it's working. Maybe it's just that, in fact, that they have to do, you know, to apply to their show, to keep it on the good direction. At least for the next episode, you know, the episode 6, that's what they're gonna do. That's gonna be the final episode of this season 1. They don't have the choice, you know. Oh, that was so good to have news about the Mandalorian. Mando, I missed you. Oh, and really, you talking about Grogu, I can't take it. I was not expecting that. I was mad during the intro, and now look at my smile. And still, you know, that's it. Just right there. Did you see that? Did you see my face changing? I was so glad, I was so excited. Like, I cannot wait to edit this video, to rewatch this episode, editing this video, that's gonna be cool and all. That was so great, such a good surprise. And at the same time, while I was thinking of that, I was like, okay, and then I'm gonna post it and people are gonna insult me on the comments. See, I'm already preparing myself for what people are gonna find wrong into my reactions and thoughts. I didn't hide any of my emotions and feelings. I didn't lie about any of my reactions and thoughts about this episode, and I'm gonna continue to do that. But really, it's at the end of it, or editing it, that each time now I'm like, that's it, how they're gonna take it, what they're gonna find wrong into what I just said. But right there, it was about the Mandalorian, so we can all agree that it was great for the character, for the relationship, for the story also that we had during this episode. What we discovered about where Mando is right now into his life, being banished like that in a way, still trying to reach Grogu. But yes, can we consider that it was an episode of the Book of Boba Fett? I'm wondering about that. Tell me your opinion about it. In a polite way, please. And if you can't, just go away. Do yourself also that pleasure and like, I'm relieving you from your duty of watching my videos when in fact you don't appreciate them. Some people are so bored with their lives, like really. If I don't want to watch someone, if I know that I'm not gonna appreciate his or her videos, I'm not watching him or her, you know, like. I have other things to do into my life than to watch the videos of someone that I know that I'm not gonna like. No? That's really me trying to understand trolls, you know, right there, like. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there this video. It's all for you and for me for today, so it's all for me for now, so bye for now. Bye. And again, I'm not mad at the majority of you. I know that just a few people who are like that. The ones of you who know that I was not talking about you.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Hey.